My dudes, it's your boy, Adam Ward. And joining me on this week's YBC are actors, theatre makers, and travel vloggers, Shawney Ross and Elliot Burton. You can keep up with their adventures at Gingerly Travels on YouTube and Instagram. In this episode, we talk theatre in Liverpool, being content, sleeping with lions, and wheelies. So without further ado, this is episode 10 of Your Boy Cancelled, Your Boys Poppin' Wheelies.
Hi, I'm Elliot Burton.
I'm Shawney Ross, and you're listening to
Your Boy Cancelled with Adam Ward.
In my mind, that's exactly how I thought you would have both said it. Like splitting it up like that. Very good. I'm very impressed. So cool. Let's go straight in. My dudes, it's your boy Adam Ward, and joining me this week are two actors, theatre makers, and travel vloggers, Shawney Ross and Elliot Burton. Guys, it's a joy to see you. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I'm happy to have you guys. This is your boy cancelled. So what are you both cancelling?
Who wants to go first?
You go first, Shawney. You've been thinking about it longer.
Yeah, so at first I didn't have anything to cancel and I was really struggling. And then the more I thought of it, I've got about 50 things to cancel. But the one that I've landed on is the nationwide adverts.
Is that the ones where it's like they really try and make it look like it's a real thing, but it's never a real thing? It's usually like someone sitting in a room chatting to someone else, and it's really obviously staged, and it's two actors.
It's normally a poem that someone has obviously just written in maybe 10 minutes. And yeah, it started off with the woman that was like, do you remember? She was like, how are you? Do you remember that one?
Yes, yeah.
Like, we really care about that now. How are you?
I think she's like addressing her future self.
Yeah, and it's just so insincere, and it just drives me mental every time I see it. And also, during lockdown, it seemed to be the only thing that was on the TV. It just drove me insane. And also, we've had a bit of a lull. I've not seen any, and I thought it was over with. I was quite happy with that. And then there's a new one, and it's that guy.
Is it the one with the guy who's talking about his siblings, and they're coming into the room behind him? Yeah. And they're like, he's saying he doesn't like his siblings coming into his room, and the whole thing is his brother coming in and out of his room. And then when he finishes the poem, he's like, "What are you doing?"
I know, and he's like, "But the door's never closed." It's like, "Oh, shut up."
Actually, what's really interesting about that one is you can see the kid coming in, and you know that his brother's like, "Mate, I'm getting like 200 quid to do this from Nationwide." So you just walk in and walk out and pick something up. So he's just picking up like a pair of his boxes or something like that and walking out. No kid really does that, do they?
No, they don't.
What are you going to get?
And not to mention, because he's looking at the camera, he can see that his brother's coming in and out of the room.
Yeah.
They do it as though he can't see him, as though he's sneaking in, like.
It's just so contrived, and every single one of them is contrived. There's that one where the woman as well is talking about a bird coming into her garden. Do you remember that one?
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, that one's a bit crazy.
Yeah, she's like, cuckoo, cuckoo.
I said, "Here, there's a bird. Cuckoo." God, you're bloody cuckoo, love. Jeez.
I need to see this one.
And at one point, she like snuffs up her lines as well, and that really annoys me because I'm just like, you could have done that 100 times to send it in to Nationwide or wherever, and she decided to send that clip, and I'm like, how many times did she do it and snuff up her lines? It just drives me insane.
It's like I was listening to newer podcasts that people have started, because like me, everyone started podcasts. You can do a thing where you can record a 5-minute little clip that's not a full episode, but it's just you explaining what your podcast is. And I listened to one of these, and the person clearly written themselves a script, but they kept stumbling over their words. And I'm just sat there like, would you not re-record this? Surely you'd re-record this. Like, if this is your 5-minute thing to tell people to listen to your podcast, and you're there like, so, what was I saying now? What was this thing here? Re-record it. You've got the power to re-record it. This isn't a one-take deal.
Exactly.
Although, like, at the same time, like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever done, like, self-tapes before, but me and Elliot do them quite a lot. And it gets to a point where we both just go, oh, you know what? Just send that one. And maybe that is what's happening. Because even though, like, some of the jobs, you really want the job, but when you've done about 10 takes, you're just like, you know what? I don't care that much about the job. Send that across. I don't care.
And a lot of it's a timing thing too, as well, isn't it? Like, you'll get to a point when you're like, this needs to be out tonight at the latest, and I've only got 2 hours left. I just send it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Elliot, what did you go with?
Well, I think I've known this one for a very long time. I think it's going to challenge a lot of people. It's probably going to get a lot of splashback at me, maybe to your own podcast. You might want to delete this. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm Morpheus sitting in front of Neo about to tell him we're going to go down the rabbit hole. But basically, I'm cancelling pandas.
Wow.
That's right.
That is a big one. And why pandas?
So I've been vegan for like nearly 3 years now, but yes, I'm completely cancelling pandas. Why? Because they are no good for this planet anymore. They clearly should not be around any longer. So what do they eat? Everyone knows that pandas eat, bamboo shoots. Yeah. They're not very good for them. They're not very nutritious at all. So the keepers of pandas have to spike all of these shoots with drugs. So you've got lots and lots of drugs lined up in their bamboo shoots that they're just chomping through all day. You see the little ladies who are trying to clean out their pens, and these pandas are just lolling all over the place. And then we spend like years waiting for them to do it with each other so we can have little baby pandas. And they don't want to do it. What kind of species doesn't want to do it? I reckon I could probably do it if you chop my arm off 5 minutes before.
I mean, I think that's a fair point. And I think when you do watch videos of pandas, you do think if we weren't helping them out, they would be long gone.
Exactly.
Probably long gone.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the wilds of China and what the colours that, come up in China. What kind of colours can you see? Greens and browns.
Greys.
Yeah, but no black and white. There's no snow and stuff. So what are they? They can't hide. They're not predators either.
Yeah, that is an interesting one because usually stuff is coloured by what its surroundings are. But why are pandas black and white?
Who knows?
They clearly want to be seen by something. So I think that there could be
a bunch of lazy show-offs.
They're probably they've probably been invented by the Chinese tourist board to get people to come over. They realized that the Great Wall of China was incomplete and everyone's stolen their terracotta warriors. They were like, let's invent an animal.
We need something to get the pundits in.
Yes, they're cute, and I do admit they're very cute when they're lolling around, particularly their babies. But have you ever seen a baby panda? That is not cute. The proper babies look like bald moles that crawl out of.
I was gonna say, hell, as I can't imagine they'd look great like the cat.
Oh, but we're talking about the size of smaller than your hand. This completely disgusting little bald mole crawls out of mummy panda, and most of the time she accidentally sits on them or thinks it like a rat and kicks it out. They're terrible mothers. They don't breathe.
This sounds very theatre of the grotesque right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're meant to be alive anymore, but we keep them going, and it must cost millions to keep the pandas alive.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a lot in circulation at the moment either.
No, I mean, how many are in the wild now?
I don't know.
What eats what do pandas, does anything eat a panda? Probably tigers will come down from Siberia and be like, I'm having that.
Yeah.
I can see it as well. They can't exactly hide.
I mean, can you imagine a tiger seeing a panda trying to run away?
I feel
Have
like
a great time.
I would really enjoy watching a video of a panda running away from a predator. I think that'd be really good entertainment.
Wow.
That's going to be so lazy and dopey, oh no. Oh no!
I think maybe they live on hills and stuff, because I feel like if they roll, they could get a bit of momentum, and then I think they'd be sorted then.
So this is what the interior of China looks like. It's just these, instead of rolling hills, it's actually hills with rolling pandas on.
It's rolling pandas. Yeah, because I've got to say, I've seen a lot of videos of rolling pandas. That seems to be their favourite method of travel.
Yeah. Just rolling around their £1 million cages that they all have.
Real Hollywood fat cats.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm getting rid of. I mean, they're the face of, WWF, WWF, the World Wildlife Foundation.
Yeah, not the World Wildlife.
I think it's probably because when they were starting everything up, they were like, we need to rescue something. And those pandas are making a right pig's ear of life at the moment.
I'm pretty sure that's the first thing they said at the WWF board meeting.
They were like, rhinos getting attacked left, right and centre, but we got to save those pandas, make them our emblem, because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing.
We gotta do something about these dopes.
Yeah, exactly. Like food in front of them, they're like, I don't want this fruit or anything like that. Just give me grass. I'll just eat grass like a
Just give me an
cow.
old stick to chew on.
Yeah, exactly. Silly things.
No, I think they're both fair. You know, I was having one of those days today, and my cancellation is just the obvious one that everyone on earth would cancel right now. And it's just Corona and our government's handling of Corona and just sort of the lack of, you know, support for arts organizations, big and small, and casual workers, and it's just a big old mess. Like I feel like Corona is like the Big Bang Theory. Like it's terrible and it's been going forever and it just keeps going, and it doesn't matter how terrible and awful it is, they'll keep making 10 more seasons of it.
Oh no, absolutely.
Just had enough. You just having one of those days.
I know. When coronavirus first happened, were you the same as us? Did you think it would be over I thought initially we'd be off work for 2 weeks. I was like, that's it. That'll be, you know, the amount of time we have off. But it hasn't. It's just gone on and on and on. And I just never saw this coming.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I think I had my worst moment of coronavirus like 2 days ago. It was when I was going into a shop and I was like, oh no, I've got to put my face mask on. Happy to comply. So I pulled out my old face mask that's in my pocket, and we've been using ones that you're supposed to throw away within 4 hours, but I've found you can actually make them last pretty much all of 6 months. And I put it on my face and realized it completely stank of all of like just things from my pocket, my own mouth odor. Oh my God. I stuck it on my face and was going around Asda like, oh my God, oh, damn your Corona. Yeah, it was pretty awful.
He also like uses his bag as a like a supermarket bag as well. So like he'll be going to the shop and picking up, you know, like loose onions, and like we don't like to use a lot of plastic as well. So we'll try and get loose things. So, you know, all of those like horrible vegetables, and also he doesn't like emptying out the bags. Like as soon as he gets in, he doesn't empty out the bags. So I feel like it's probably had like some moldy bananas in there at some point as well.
Yeah, you know the little cubes of little cloves of garlic that fall to the bottom of your bag.
Oh yeah, and they have like the
start rotting. Yeah, that's, you know, that comes all in my face when I put my face mask on. But yeah, I think that was like my biggest, most inconvenient moment. I mean, people have been losing lives and you know, jobs. Yeah, that was my worst moment.
It's all relative. We're all in our own. I mean, particularly now, we're all in like our own little bubbles, aren't we? So like little things that shouldn't really affect you now. Do you know what I mean? It was like this is actually on the thing I cancelled for the episode I recorded the other day. I was walking near me and they've done like loads of roadworks nearby. Well, where we are. They just did all these roadworks. It's all done. There's a nice path. There's the giant.
I know where you're talking about. I love that.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's so nice. And I was walking, just looking on my phone, walking down the path. And this guy goes past me on a bike and tells me to watch where I'm going. They've just spent months building this 2-lane bike lane for you. And you're telling me to watch where I'm going, walking on a path with no one else but you on your bike with 2 bike lanes there. And I just was so infuriated by it.
I had the opposite happen to me. So I was walking, it was when it had just opened, and I was walking down that little pathway and I was like thinking, this is so nice. And there was a woman walking on the bike path and I was like, there's a path literally right next to you for you. Like, why are you deciding to walk on the bike path?
Yeah, what if they built a motorway down that road? She's like, I'm gonna walk over there.
This is where I'm walking now.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that could segue nicely into something else we could cancel. Bicycles in Liverpool.
Just bicycles in general?
I think in Liverpool in particular, because they do cycle on the pavement, and that's really, really annoying, especially if you're trying to walk and you've got like 5 guys who are all out cycling in your way. On the other side, on the wrong side of the road as well. On the pavement, cycling directly at you, going like, excuse me, mate, excuse me. Or like the kids.
Oh, don't even get me started on the kids.
Doing wheelies.
They love wheelies.
How many times a day? In fact, I lose count of how many times a day I wish that someone doing a wheelie would literally just, a gust of wind would blow them off.
Oh no, absolutely.
It's all I think whenever I see it happen. Like in my mind, I'm just thinking, fall open.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, what we could try and do is like start people clapping. when they see the wheelies. So if we could get like everybody in Liverpool, London, Manchester, Birmingham, I don't know how far out your podcast goes, but like just start clapping when you see a kid doing a wheelie. Everyone just, good for you, sir.
Woo! Let's start this as a campaign. We need to think of a classy name for it that's catchy, and then it'll all happen. What the weird thing is? I was viewing the analytics for the podcast because I'm a big shot like that, and 10% of my overall listens are based in America, which I find very bizarre with this being such a very like UK and arts-based podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10% of the overall listens is in America. I think specifically Virginia was a high point. I think like 60% of that 10% was Virginia. So Virginians, I appreciate you listening to YBC.
Do you get like a comment section or anything? Because it'd be good to know. Are wheelies a thing in America?
I'd like to know that. I would like to know that. So American listeners, if you want to check us out on Instagram or YouTube, leave your comments and let us know, are wheelies a thing in America? I feel like they are, but I feel like they're probably not as big a thing as they are here.
Especially for people over the age of 10.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, because I'd say,
10.
particularly in Liverpool, wheelies for your like 15 to 19 is very high. High ratios of wheelies.
It's even gone up to like men in their 40s and 50s. I've seen though, and I'm just like,
oh really?
Yeah.
You do not be wheeling, sir. If you're pushing for a bus pass, you do not need to be wheeling. Another thing I notice a lot here as well is the amount of people who definitely aren't students who say student on the bus. Like, I've seen a lot of people that I look at and I'm like, you are definitely not a student. Like, I feel like we could all still pass for students, and I sometimes sneakily say student on the bus, I'm not gonna lie. But there are people who I see who are definitely not students saying student, and the bus driver's like, yeah, that's fine.
Elliot's never been a student in Liverpool, yet he gets a student.
I don't ask. I'm too scared to ask. So I get Shawney to get on the bus with me and say, can we have 2 student singles, please? So I literally will, if I'm first standing in front of the guy and the guy's like, what can I get you, matey? And I'm like, what are we getting, Shawney?
Yeah, you do it.
I bring myself to say,
I'm the same. I do a naturally higher voice when thankfully.
Shawney, what are we having?
You know what? I didn't originally. So after I was a student, I never used to get a student single.
Yeah.
And when I used to get the bus driver used to say, you want a student single? When you get on in the future, say student single. And I was like, okay. So it wasn't actually my initial decision to do that. The bus driver was saying to me, say student single. So that's what I'm going to do.
I mean, if you've been told to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And this can also like transcend into the whole world, because we've used our expired student cards without dates on it in several countries all over the world.
I need to find mine because I love the fact that it doesn't have a day on it. Because a lot of student cards do have dates on it, but yeah, amazing that all of ours don't.
Also started going yellow, and Elliot's is from Syracuse in America, so his has like started like peeling at the edges as well, and like so now it's a bit embarrassing whenever we hand them over.
I have to do like an accent with it and be like, yeah, that's mine.
It's touch and go when we give it to the ticket lady. We don't know whether we're going to get turned away or not.
Cancel.
Going back to the real start, what were your oranges? What were your origins of your lives as theatre makers and performers? How did it all start?
You want to go first?
Sure. You know what is really funny actually on that note is this is something that we used to get asked a lot
all the time.
In our first. So basically, a little backstory: we met working in Germany. So we did theatre and education. It's basically going around schools performing theatre shows in English, and we did that in Germany, and we met doing that. So that's how we met. We did that for a year, and at the end of most shows, we'd have like a question and answer, and that is probably the question we'd get asked most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we both kind of have like answers geared up.
Yeah.
How did you become an actor? Well, I've always been an actor ever since I was about 3 years old, and I would pretend to be Batman. For me, it probably was. I was very young, I just always knew I wanted to be an actor. I like telling stories and all that kind of stuff. And then I started doing it after school in different clubs as part of school and outside of school. And that's all I wanted to do. Apart from I wanted to be a pilot for a little bit of time, and I'm colorblind and was told that I couldn't be a pilot. Not that that's true anymore, but then I decided to be an actor and just kept pursuing it.
Little Miss Sunshine.
And I used to be quite a shy child. I was very, very quiet, and I remember when my teachers used to say that I just wouldn't answer them back sometimes if they asked me questions. And this is like in reception, year 1, year 2, and then the start of like junior school. And then when I was in year 5, I got my first ever kind of show I was in, and I ended up getting the main part. And and this is another story about, teachers and giving people the opportunity to do things. So I was obviously a really quiet child, but whoever this teacher was decided to give me this main part. And I can imagine other teachers would have been like, why are you doing that to the quiet girl? But actually it really brought me out of my shell. And it's the first time that people that I didn't know spoke to me and things like that. And I think it really helped me like develop as a person and stuff like that. And I just kept doing it after that. And I just kind of got addicted from that point. Honestly, it just completely changed my personality, and I became more outgoing and more confident, and I was able to talk, and just mental how performing arts can help and affect children. And I think that's why it's also really sad why it's not phased out of schools a little bit now, isn't it? I think it's a massive shame because it does bring out a lot in children, I think.
And I think it's funny when you have those moments with teachers, those things always do stay with you, don't they? It's like when I was in college, I was always the comedy guy. And that's what I always did. It was always comedy stuff. And anything else, I did it, but I didn't really love doing it. And I remember one of the tutors I had, he was like our physical theatre tutor. That's what he specialised in, like physical theatre and like arto, like Artodian, dark, weird stuff. And I remember he gave me the lead part, like there was 2 lead parts, and he gave me one of the lead parts for this like arto heavy physical theatre piece for that very reason, because he was like, because I know no one else here pushes you. Everyone else lets you go and go and do comedy stuff and get distinctions for that, but I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone and do the thing that I know you don't really like to do. And those are the things that really stick with you, and those are the things that kind of improve you and affect you as a performer, and in later life by challenging yourself to do things that you don't really want to do. On the opposite scale of that, when I was in primary school, we did Bugsy Malone, and I really, really wanted to be Dandy Dan. I thought I was going to be a great Dandy Dan. And the audition process, for the audition, they made you go into a room with like the year 5 teacher and sing a hymn. That because it was a CV school. They made you stand there and sing a hymn and then leave. Dandy Dan doesn't sing one song in the whole of Bugsy Malone. And the guy who performed and was Dandy Dan was very, very drab, to say the least. Very uncharismatic fellow. This may have been, 20 years ago now, but it still irks me. I should have been Dandy Dan.
So your whole career has just been chasing that Dandy Dan part, and
I've been chasing the Dandy Dan. Oh, you should have seen this guy though. You should have seen this guy. I'm not going to name him. His name was Tom Brooks. But this guy, he was so uncharismatic when he was performing. He had nothing. And the guy who was playing Fat Sam, called Adam Robinson, he was great. But the Dandy Dan, very poor indeed. In terms of like the projects that you've done, what would you say are the projects that you're most proud of?
Outside of school, I think a lot of the time you've got to take it as it comes. Which means doing a lot of work that you've probably hated, doing things like, I don't hate theatre and education because it provided a salary for about 3 years of my life, but it doesn't feel fulfilling. And then you do something that might be like unpaid and it can make you feel really good. For instance, this year Shawney and I both got a chance to work together again on a piece that we both helped create, write, and it was for nothing, but then you realize why you're in this business. Like, you have to look at yourself and say, is it actually the money? And half of the time you'll think about, what do I really want? Sometimes you're going to realize, I've actually already got it. I've got a team that I really want to work with and I want to be happy. But the other side is like things that you tell yourself you want, but you don't actually want it, like money. Do you really want money, or do you want to create challenging theatre and have a challenge whilst creating theatre, you know. And I think so this year was really fun, creating a show called There's a Dead Body in My Baby's Sandpit. That was good fun.
Yeah. To be honest, I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud of as well, for the same reasons really, just because, you know, it's difficult because obviously I feel like some parts of the art are exploitative in terms of they don't pay, but I think it depends like who you're working with and who is actually profiting from that situation. So there are unpaid jobs where someone else is really profiting from it and you're just like a pawn, whereas with this we were all one team and it felt very, you know, collective, and we were all in the same position. And also, you know, I feel like you have to start from something, and all of the companies, or most of the companies at the minute that, you know, are doing really well actually had to start from nothing, and that's quite nice. And I think just putting yourself out there and doing things that you really care about is really important. So for me, I think I was really proud of that as well, actually.
Yeah.
Like
last year I did quite a big project going round doing a UK tour of a show, but it had basically started in one venue, and then the year after they decided to take it on tour. So I auditioned and managed to get a part from a guy who'd gone somewhere else, and it very much felt like I was sort of stepping in to fill the boots to do exactly the same moves as they'd worked here. So there was a lot of like, oh yeah, but he actually stood there, and it kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it, I suppose. Not that I didn't have an amazing time. It was a great opportunity to go around some massive theatres, but yeah, underneath, you know, you feel like you're not fully appreciated. But having said that, being able to create your own work or doing new work, new writing, you know, then you're saying something on that stage that nobody has done before. You're creating things that the audience have never seen before, and I think that's really exciting. Every new piece of art is something new and fresh. And there's going to be people in that audience who go, oh, haven't seen this. This is the best thing in the world.
And also there was someone actually that had seen the show who came into, so I also work in a restaurant, and someone that saw the show came into the restaurant. I obviously didn't know who they were, but they recognized me and then were saying, are you going to do something else with the show? It's a shame if you just leave it there. And it just feels really good that people that you don't even know have seen it and, you know, we're really excited about it enough to say that they want to see it go further. So yeah, it's really rewarding, actually.
It's funny how those moments really what make it all worthwhile. Just like one stranger's coming up to you you've never seen before, saying, oh, I saw this thing you did, I thought it was great, what's happening next? And I think the most important thing moving forward, like just in general life, is like making sure we don't lose that. I think that's so important. I think sometimes myself, I can be like, and I've started doing this less, but I can see someone and I'll be like, say I'm in like the arts bar or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, I saw that person in that show, they were great. But yeah, I don't go and say it enough. And then sometimes you go and say it, and then it's like, it's that thing of you've made that person's day just by going, oh, I saw you do this show and it was great. And I don't know you and you don't know me, but I just thought I wanted to let you know that. And I think that's such a nice thing. And I think pre-COVID, just before COVID all happened, I felt like we were getting that a lot more in Liverpool. Like there was definitely a feeling of the fringe scene was alive.
Definitely. I think that's one of the things that makes Liverpool stand out to me personally over London. Having lived in London for about 6 years of my life, I think the fringe scene in London is so expensive that nobody can do it. However, here it's way more open. It's got this kind of safety net, and you know that there's a group of people who are willing to come and pay for it and see it, and you know we can put it on cheap. So it's a good place for us to really create work that we want to do. Whereas down south, you have to be able to have a show with a snappy title that gets people in, is just going to make money, or a comedy show that just the venue can make money on drinks. And that's why I like Liverpool. I think that's one of the reasons I like it here.
And it's funny what you were saying before about in terms of the paid work compared to like the passion projects. Because I think the funny thing is we all want to make a living out of the work that we do. Not 9 times out of 10, but a lot of the time when you're doing this work that's giving you a steady pay, it's not really the work that you're really passionate about. But you'll sit back and you'll think, if you're like in like the tour bus or van that you're traveling around in, and you're thinking, I mean, I'm getting paid to do this, but I don't really love this show, and it's a lot of hard work lugging all this gear, but this is what I sort of trained to do. This is why I'm here, so I can make my living doing this. but then is
Yeah.
this really what I want to do? And it's, you're always kind of weighing up those kind of pillars of, do I want to go and tour and do these shows that I don't really care about, or do I want to have a job and do these passion projects every once in a while that aren't really going to make me any money, but they could end up leading to something really big? And I feel like I constantly go in and out between, what do I really want, what do I want to achieve, what are my goals? And I think that's always going up and down prior to the world we live in today.
And I think that's probably one of the things we can take from COVID and all this lockdown and not being able to do our own work is we can sit back and think about exactly what you say, what we want. And we can also kind of look at the financial side of things, is that we've all been surviving pretty much with, next to no income, and we're still here. And it was in the news the other day, there was that West End star actress, she's very, 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 very big in the West End, and she's now selling Amazon's. She's now an Amazon delivery driver, and that's what we do. You've got to really take stock of what you really need. Do you need to be making money all the time? You find a way to live, and that's it. The theatre, being in theatre and being a creative, it's a job for life. And you have to accept that, and it might not happen straight away. It might happen a bit later, whatever you expect to happen, whether it is a lot of money or being in films or TV or creating your own West End show. It takes time, and you just got to sit back and let the universe do what it will.
Yeah, I've always had that feeling of everything happens for a reason. And I think the funny thing is, for people who aren't in the industry, they don't know the fact that, like, 1 week you're going to be on that stage and the next week you're ushering. And I think that's a real consistent thing that happens a lot. That happens to people we know, that happens to us. But people don't know that. They just think, oh, this person's in the show, they're fantastic. I think it is funny that people don't really see behind the curtain, as it were.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I can't remember where it was in the news, and it was an article that was like famous people or people that have been in the media's eye in the past that now have normal jobs. And I just find it fascinating, that it's like, you can be the same thing. You can have a normal job and you can also be an artist. And even though they probably have normal jobs, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've stopped becoming an artist all of a sudden,
Alan Rickman left RADA and was like, I'm not doing that. Just didn't become an actor till he was 48 and had made loads of money and paid off his mortgage. He went and worked in advertising and then became a plumber.
And I think that's the funny thing with kind of acting and performing and kind of being a creative, is there's no kind of time limit on when you can do it. There's no kind of age where it's like, okay, you can't do this anymore. It could literally happen at any moment, at any time. And I think that's why sometimes it's that's the difficult thing of it, is when to keep going and when to not, or if you should ever not,
or if it's saying to yourself, okay, I'm not doing, it's being okay with the fact that you're not doing it now. I think because we've got our smartphones that can give us information super quickly, we can get pizza delivered at any time of day. Everything happens so fast, we expect it to happen with our careers as well. And that's, not just creative. We want to be, say we're, working in a law firm, we want to make our way up to junior or whatever. We want things to happen so fast, but sometimes you have to be okay with saying, okay, it's not going to happen right now. I'm just going to sit back and ready myself for when the next hurdle comes.
So Gingerly Travels is your YouTube channel, your Instagram. How did that all start?
I mean, because we obviously met working in Germany, and previous to that I'd actually worked for 6 months in Italy. We both kind of had a passion for traveling, and that's the reason why we met where we did and why we got on so well, and why it all really worked out. And Elliot had also been to Australia before he went to drama school, so we're both quite adventurous, I think. And actually, you started recording in Germany, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we got a GoPro, but we didn't put any of the videos onto anything. We didn't make anything out of the videos. We just kind of were recording things for ourselves. And then we did it. Actually, the first time we decided we were going to make a video was when we went to India. And it was very, very, very basic. Just with our iPhone. We didn't have any equipment or anything. And we definitely didn't know what we were doing. I still don't know what we're doing, but we just wanted to record our experience to look back on, and also for our friends and family to look at as well. Family especially, because it's so nice to just sit and with them and like see something that you've done, an experience that you've done, and for them to see what you've been up to and stuff. So it kind of started from there, didn't it? And just wanting to log what we've done and record what we've done and to look back on things.
Yeah, and I'm quite far away from social media, so I didn't really understand the whole vlogging world at all. And now that we've done India and been to Africa, and then suddenly I realized like how big and saturated this like world of YouTube and Instagram is. It's a bit overwhelming, but quite an exciting world. People just like, loads of people just talk about rubbish. Not this show, obviously, but
we're a cultural show here.
It's so interesting that you can keep your creative outlet on all the time. You could literally vlog your entire life, and you're constantly creating stuff, and I think it's actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
And our passion being travel, we've just always had in the back of our head this little dream of we'll just constantly film whenever we go traveling, and see if we can get the ball rolling on that and keep that going until we've got Gingerly Travels.
Yeah, I think
why is it called you tell them why it's called Gingerly Travels.
Oh, why is it called Gingerly Travels?
I don't.
I mean, when we're thinking of a name, I've got naturally red hair. Elliot's got a little red beard, so we're thinking ginger. And also we're a little bit, we're adventurous, but we take things at our own pace, and we can be quite cautious at doing things as well.
We tread gently into the cold waters of the ocean that is YouTube.
Yeah, so
we gingerly get in.
We do.
I like that. There's many layers. That's an onion of a name.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think as well, like, we obviously being artistic people and not being able to be artistic all the time, it is very nice to have a separate artistic outlet that we can have a bit more control over ourselves. And I'm sure that's the same with you and your podcast and with writing and everything like that. You want another creative outlet that you have control over, because with actors you don't have pretty much any control over what you do unless you create your own work. So yeah, it's just nice to have another creative thing to do when we're not performing.
And Shawney's absolutely smashing the Instagram side.
Yeah.
I take no credit for any of the Instagram side, apart from the fact I took maybe 2 pictures that were heavily edited later.
No, it is true, because I've like you say, I found the same thing with doing this podcast, because we're in a position where we can't really go and put on work and do the creative things we'd normally spend our times doing. It has been nice to have another outlet and to put something else out different from what you'd normally do. So in the way that you've challenged yourselves with doing this, that's been the nice thing. I mean, like with this, I had no idea how to edit before doing this. I wouldn't have known how to I wouldn't even known how to upload an episode anywhere prior to all lockdown and everything. So it has been good to kind of have a focus for your mind during this.
Yeah, and I think it's also nice to have that mindset of you don't have to know everything at the start. You can learn as you go along. And also I had this mindset that people would be really cruel and nasty at our videos because they're really rubbish and not professional and they weren't edited very well. But actually people are just nice in general. Like, you do get the odd person that does want to troll you and whatever, but the majority of people are really nice and friendly and and can be supportive as well. So I think learning as you go along is a really good thing to do, because no one is going to have the money or the resources to know everything at the very start.
No, exactly. So where's been your favorite place that you guys have traveled?
I still think about India. It was like the first major traveling that we did together, full scale, backpacks on. We had a rough idea of where we were going, and as soon as we got there, everything in India's way just crashed on us. Like, trains cancelled. We were getting scammed by like tourists like touts and stuff like that, and it turned into one of probably the greatest 3 months like ever. It was absolutely incredible. I'd highly recommend that country to anybody in the world. old or young, you'll really understand what life is if you go there. It's a cool place.
Yeah, it's hard to decide, but I think one of my favourite experiences was in Chobe National Park in Botswana, and because it was the first time that we've done an organised tour, and we just did that in Africa because we thought we didn't know how easy it would be to get around on our own, and also we didn't know how safe it would be, and we hadn't really researched the countries as much as we would, like, you know, for example, going to India. So we decided to do it through a tour, and that meant that we didn't actually know 100% what all of the activities would be. And we got to Chobe National Park and we didn't set up our tents, and we were like, why aren't we setting up our tents? And then this tour guide just like took all of our tents onto his truck and then took them off, and we had no idea what was going on. And what was going to happen is we were going to do a safari through this national park, and then we would get to a campsite after sundown, and we were camping in the wild, and they just kind of threw us in there and was like, by the way, there might be some lions that come at night, here's what you need to do. And they gave us this like safety demonstration, and then told us a story about this guy who had been killed by a lion. We were just like, okay. And he was like giving us all these safety tips and stuff, and we were really scared. And he was basically saying, you know, if you need the toilet in the middle of the night, don't go to the toilet, you know, basically have a wee outside your tent. We were just like, okay. But it was just the best experience. And we, you know, it was about 3 a.m, and we got woke up to lions around our campsite, and it was just
roaring, actually. A male lion will just get up every 15 minutes just to say, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, just roaring in every direction.
Yeah,
and that was pretty special.
It was terrifying, but amazing.
Yeah. And also we haven't done any of these trips very expensive. We've done every single one on little budget. We've done basically like no budget at all. Like easily we did India on 1,500, maybe less. I think that was, and it wasn't even each, I think that was the amount we spent. Yeah. Oh, wow. 1,500 for 3 months. It was, so to stay in hotels for 3 months was £400. Oh, stop it. Yeah, it was good.
That's incredible.
And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know where we're going next. COVID dictates a lot of things in our lives now. All praise Lord COVID.
So, if we were to do this episode again in 5 years' time, where would you want to be? What would you have wanted to happen?
I think another big trip for us would be a good shout. Whether it be some kind of crazy adventure like moving to another country or city, maybe doing a big traveling session of about a year. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not sure.
COVID's definitely not changed things, but it's made us talk more about things that we might want to do. So what we've been talking a lot about lately is kind of the van life thing. So what we'd actually love to do is to save up enough money to buy a van and then do up a van ourselves and then drive it either to Turkey or to Scandinavia or both, and then just do a big trip where we're self-sustainable, you know, take our social media on that route. And then artistically, I think I'd like to do more of our own work.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we do work very well together, and I think especially in Liverpool there's just a lot of very, very, very talented people that I'd love to work with again, or a new collaboration. And I just think there's a lot of opportunities up here, and you know, we don't know what's going to happen after COVID, but let's hope that the artistic industry can bounce back and you know, start putting on some really good stuff. Because if there's one thing that Liverpool's very good at doing, it's creating very good art on not very much money.
So to kind of sum up what your question was, basically I think just working for ourselves a bit more, you know, like creating our own work and creating our own actual work, as in like muggle jobs, not performing arts based jobs, you know, maybe starting up some kind of business or creating our own things. I think that's it, like, because then it will give us more empowerment in our lives and maybe we'll feel more fulfilled. I don't know, we'll see.
Well, we will see the next time we do this episode. We always finish the episodes with an unusual story. I'm just going to send you the link to this unusual story now.
What, on my phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Where is it? Just be 1 second. And I'm going to edit this so you won't hear any of my mumbling right now in the actual episode. So I'm just sending you this link now.
Stop it. I saw this.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
It's so sad, Elliot.
Oh no. Oh yeah, this is really sad.
So Puppy gets dressed up in adorable tuxedo to meet new owners, but they never arrived.
Goodness gracious me.
The adorable Vincent was dressed in a tuxedo and groomed, ready to go to his new home, but his new owners never showed up, leaving the poor pup needing to find new owners again. How could they do that to Vincent? Look at it.
If we can describe this puppy, he's like got his ears are down. He's barely like a year old and his ears are already facing down with sadness. He's got a little bow tie on. Oh my goodness.
He couldn't look any more devastated. It's like he knows for a fact they've not shown up for him.
It's honestly, so I saw this the other day and I had actual tears in my eyes, and I have a bit of a heart of stone. I don't cry at a lot of things, but this got me. It really shook me to my core, and I cannot believe this poor little puppy. I was ready to get in the car, find out where this little puppy was, bring him home.
Yeah, it's absolutely devastating, isn't it? But we like exclusives here on YBC, guys. And look at the new link that I've sent you and go a little bit further down in the article.
Oh, stop it. No way.
Because Vincent has found a new home.
Oh, amazing. Who's his new parents?
There's a picture of them. There's a picture of them further down in the story.
It's asking me to accept privacy settings.
Okay, well, you can see the picture here.
Oh, bless them.
They are wonderful people.
Wonderful people, yes. So they put out the shelter that had him, the foundation that had Vincent. They put out the post. The internet went crazy. They were inundated with offers for him, and he was picked up about 2 days later by a loving family. And that's where we're going to end the episode. Guys, if people want to find you on YouTube and Instagram, where should they look?
So on Instagram, we are at Gingerly Travels. And on YouTube, we are Gingerly Travels.
Wonderful. So, Shawney, Elliot, it's a joy to speak to you. Always is. That's this week's YBC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.